Mai was excited to join the knighthood syndicate, even when she was seemingly whisked away by some of their members when they first met. She was scared and confused, but they talked herself through it as they travelled to the main grounds. To her it sounded like a guild or academy of learning, and only the chosen were let in, and she was one of them. She didn't know much about the guild. Hells, she didn't know anything about it, so when she learned that such a guild existed, she was surprised. Her father taught her as much as he could about the outside world of their small home borough, but he never mentioned the syndicate to her. From what she could gather, they were a rather secretive association, very discreet about what they do and say. She never did ask what they were doing in the woods before they found her. She figured that they wouldn't tell her anyhow, but that was all right with Mai. If she was to be a part of the guild, she would learn not to ask too many questions, a stark contrast in her personality. She loved asking questions and learning about the world around her, but this would be different. As the 3 Shadow Cloak members escorted her to their grounds, she never spoke to them and let them do all of the talking. Even as she came to the grounds of a very large settlement. The building was large and made of stone. It was fairly out of the way of any other settlements, no towns, villages, or sites in sight. It was kept away deep inside of another forest that Mai was not familiar with, surrounded by trees and bushes. The building itself had been saved by the huddle of the trees. Mai noticed that some of the trees had been cut down surrounding the building, creating a clear view of the place. It was small, smaller than Mai had thought. Her father spoke of the grandiose display of such guilds, like the Order of the Red Flame, how big they were in comparison to the other buildings they're usually settled with. But the Knighthood Syndicate was small, large enough to fit however many members it had, but small enough to remain discreet in its ways. Mai was led through a gated area guarded by 2 imposing large stone Akinine. Mai felt a chill run through her body when she neared them. To her left she could see a fountain made of white marble. The fountain depicted 2 foxed rounding arc that sprouted upward. The arc poured out water into the bloomed flower-like dish below it and overflowed down to the base. Resting on the arc's cup was a large raven with purple gems for eyes. Mai was mesmerized by its beauty. In front of her lay a small maze that was easy to traverse, even without the escorting of the dark-cladded syndicate members. Past through the maze, and on the other side lay a courtyard. There were marble benches of the same make as the fountain. There were others sitting outside, enjoying the summer's day. The sun was set low, and there was a cool breeze brisking through. Mai was not cold from the breeze, but she shook either way. Her nerves were starting to act up the closer she got to their destination, a large double door made of wood. She peered up at the doors and gulped. When she felt the reassuring hand of one of the dark-cladded men, she calmed down. They ushered her forward, parting the double doors with ease. It looked like it weighed a ton to Mai, but they passed through with relative ease. She wondered just how strong these men were. They had to be if they were part of this secret organization. Mai followed the syndicate members in without so much as a peep from her and followed their every move. They came into a large area known as the lobby. Inside there were more syndicate members strewn about. Mai could see that some of them were all dressed the same, dark leather armor, all save for one individual. A rather tall Min was standing by a wooden large desk strewn with parchment and scrolls. He was in all black, but he wore a suit. His dark hair was slicked back and hugged at the back of his neck. He had a long, pointed nose and eyes that regarded you coolly. Mai shied away from the Min's gaze, and the Min did smile. "Welcome back, team. I see you've all made it back soundly. That's good. And who might this be? Another recruit." His steely grey eyes looked to Mai, and though they seemed cold, there was a sense of warmth behind them. Mai was able to calm herself down and opted to introduce herself. However, one of the syndicate members spoke up for her. "This is Mai. We found her," was all that he said, gesturing Mai to come closer to the counter where the tall lad stood. Mai did what she was told and bravely stepped closer to the front desk. "Think you can take care of her while the rest of us settle in and rest up?" The tall Min bowed to the request, his smile never wavering. "Of course, sir. I'll do what I must. Now then." There was a long pause between Mai and the tall Min, whose eyes could be felt looking into her. She stirred and shuffled in discomfort, rubbing her arm. Her ears and eyes fell down to the black marbled ground, trying to hide from the gaze. When the Min finally spoke, May snapped her head back up. "She's gifted, this one." Mai stared into the tall Min with her big pink eyes and blinked. She had no idea what he was talking about, but it was similar to what the syndicate members had said, that she had the eyes, whatever that meant. The questions burned inside her and yearned to be free, but May reminded quiet. "Come now, child. Don't be frightened. You are within safe walls while here, I assure you. You can call me Miles. I am the receptionist here. As for what I do, well..." He gestured to his wooden desk of work. "I handle the back end. Let's just say that, Again, the silver eyes of Miles looked at Mai and made her flush in the face. She again felt the nagging sensation to run and hide. Her flustered mind didn't know what to do, what to say, so instead she nodded. "Okay, Miles." "Don't get too used to the name," Miles stated matter-of-factly before he rounded the front desk. As he moved, the syndicate members dispersed away from May to either join the other members in their loungeful talking or to head off their living quarters, and May suddenly felt alone. "Don't worry about them. You will see them again soon enough. In the meantime, let's get you set up here, yes?" Miles handed Mai a loose leaf of paper. On the paper were things that Mai couldn't quite understand, but she could read it regardless. It was a recruit form with questions about her. It wanted her full name, species, gender, association, something Mai had no clue about. The only thing it didn't ask was her family background. Mai looked curiously to Miles, who only nodded with a rictus smile. "Here, I'll help you with it." Once the form was filled out, my name was entered into the records. She knew this because of her name display on a board situated behind Miles' desk. The board had several names already on it, along with their species, but nothing else. May wondered why she had to insert all of the rest of her information down if that's all they were going to display. Miles informed her that it was for record keeping, in case something happens to you. Mai gulped. She was shown around the syndicate and its many rooms. Afterwards, she was taken to her dorm room, where she would be living for the duration of her stay at the syndicate. It was a quaint little room, very much to May's likings, as it reminded her of home. There was a tear welling in her eye that she couldn't wipe away fast enough before Miles noticed. "Don't worry. You'll enjoy your stay here, I promise. And if you like, you're welcome to return home should you find you're missing there quite a bit. For now, rest up. You have a big day ahead of you tomorrow. You will be meeting the rest of your team." Team? Like the one she met in the woods? Mai wasn't so sure if she wanted to meet more of their kind. They were extremely intimidating in such a way that brought a shiver down Mai's spine. No, she'd much rather stay in her room. However, Miles would have none of it, and reminded her that she was here to learn, to become a magi like the rest of society, and she couldn't do that hidden away inside of her room. Mai wanted to protest, but could not deny that he had a point. She didn't come all this way just to become like a timid rabbit and hide inside her burrow. She came here to get stronger, to find answers to her missing Uncle Jasper. That was her mission, her sole goal. Already she had been learning from the syndicate, for she did not relay this information to Miles. If her uncle went missing and is in danger, she couldn't put her trust in anyone. But that night, like the other night, she could not sleep, would not sleep. All she could do was think about her dear old Uncle Jasper, how he might have been out there in the wilds all alone. He was probably cold and hungry while she lay in a comfortable bed, sheltered by walls not familiar to her. Mai did everything she could to try to sleep. She counted bo peeps and even requested a glass of warm milk, but nothing helped her rest her weary mind. It was riddled with the sight of her uncle, and she couldn't bear it. There were some tomes sitting on the bookcase of her room. Curious, Mai began to read them. They were tomes on the fundamentals of magicka and its many uses. There was things in there the tomes and books back at home did not cover. Not even the one she checked out from the library to take with her on her travels didn't have this much information. Mai couldn't stop reading. She read through each and every book she could reach with vigor, hungry for more knowledge. By the time she was done, the Sunar had risen. It was time for her to start the day. She was startled by the sound of knocking at her dorm's door. She expected it to be Miles, the receptionist, but when she opened the door, there stood a syndicate member. Cloaked head to toe in armor, he beckoned Mai to follow him. They proceeded to the lobby, where Miles awaited them with the same smile he'd shown since the day she met him. He welcomed Mai good morning and gestured to two others that stood by his desk. They were boys, one a taureau and the other Mai couldn't make out. He looked like an alicut, but had the horns and tail of a taureau. Miles began to tell Mai the names of the two boys, one being Nikolai and the other Briz. They both regarded May with bright smiles. Briz, the taureau with bangs in front of his eyes, shyly waved his hand as he was introduced, and Nikolai bowed, his bristle-like tail sweeping the ground with grace. They seemed like well-rounded lads from what Mai could gather, maybe almost trustworthy, but Mai couldn't be certain just yet. Mai curtsed to them both, and the three listened in to what the receptionist had to say. He had a job for them, a class lesson that required a party to complete. A mission? Already? Mai hadn't even begun to prepare for this. She didn't sleep a wink and already to be tested. Miles informed the party of their assignment, a small, simple task that wouldn't put neither in harm's way. They were to escort an elder through the forest while he visits an old friend. Simple. They would require the aid of one of the dark syndicates for transportation. It took about a day for the crew to reach their destination. As they travelled, Mai talked with the two boys. She not only learned their names, but a bit of their background. Briz worked with his father chopping trees for lumber and selling them to others, while Nikolai grew up fairly wealthy, but he grew weary of his comfortable life. Both of them came to know about the syndicate, same as Mai. They were found. The syndicate deemed both of them of having hidden potential that neither of them knew about, but the syndicate could see it in them. The mission went well without any problems. It was as Miles said, escorting the elder Akinine went off without a hench, and they were back at the syndicate grounds within another day. Mai wondered why they were given such an easy task to do that anyone could do with their eyes closed. Miles explained the true purpose behind the mission, to get more familiar with her team. Mai blinked, but looked to Briz and Nikolai and smiled. Miles was right. The entire time she had been conversing and forming a bond with the two boys in only a matter of a day. She wondered why she had such a hard time talking with boys before, and why she was so comfortable around her teammates. She supposed that was the point, and Miles knew exactly what he was doing. No surprise, he was part of the Knighthood Syndicate. The next few days, however, were challenging. Mai and her team were to take academic classes, learning magicka along with other classes such as math, history, and astrology. Mai seemed to brisk through her studies and was found to be an astute learner. When it came time for her to earn her first ranking class, she chose to be a Saint Tanist. Apparently, she would be the first of her kind of the academy, for the class itself proved to be highly difficult, but obtainable. Her final test would be to successfully summon her first Onikin and tame it. Nothing to it. She was to go to a marked location and learn to summon the Onikin. She did so without a scratch to her, and she even learned the name of her summoned. Okeo was the name of her Onikin, and it was a female. Onikin do not age, but Okeo looked to be around the same age as Mai. Mai was baffled by this. She learned from her father and uncle that Onikin were highly dangerous and nefarious fiends of the underworld. Much like the Volcari, they carried a bad reputation. However, unlike the Volcari, they were regarded with less caution and used as liabilities, provided that one could tame an Onikin. To contain the power of an Onikin required a high magical aptitude, so for Mai to have tamed her first Onikin on her first try was no small feat. Over the next few days, Mai and Okeo formed a bond with each other. Mai felt that it was a feeling unlike any other she had ever felt. Yes, she was comfortable with her teammates, but with Okeo, she felt a connection. She'd confide in Okeo everything she had been dealing with herself, like losing her uncle and worries about the Volcari. The Volcari are not to be trusted, Okeo would sternly say to Mai. They will take your life without regard. Mai informed Okeo of her plan to find other uncle from his Volcari captors and bring him home. Okeo thought this was a noble act for someone so young and vowed to help Mai with her plight. One day, Mai's Onikin revealed to her that the headmaster of their organization might have been a Volcari. When word got out that Okio was close to the truth about the Nighthod Syndicate, she was banished, killed right in front of Mai's eyes. This trauma of having her best friend killed was the very first time she would be meeting Arcus, the Syndicate's headmaster and supposed Volcari. There, Lil Bun, he would assure the hysterical Mai who just witnessed a murder. She was told that the Onikin had become corrupt and began to tell lies to Mai in order to gain her trust and manipulate her. The purpose was said to be clear. The Onikin wanted to kill Mai, had thus had to be disposed. Mai couldn't believe her long Lupin ears, that her best friend that she spent weeks bonding with would do anything to harm her. It seemed like a blatant lie to Mai, and she would let it be known. She challenged the headmaster on his accusation and believed that he was in fact a Volcari and that only Volcari would do such a heinous act. Rather than be reprimanded for her outburst, she was congratulated for being so outspoken and open-minded. She was not killed on the spot as she thought she would, but shown back to her dorm room and told to forget the whole ordeal ever happened. In the morning she would study hard to gain a new summon. But Mai didn't want a new summon. She wanted her Okeo. She wanted her love back. That night, Mai packed her things and tomes and fled from the Syndicate, vowing to find truth. She made a promise to herself that she would bring down the Syndicate that stole away her only friend and uncle.